Deepfake is a term that people use for audio and video and images that were created by AI that are hard to distinguish from real audio and video and images. Now, in reality, AI is still just software. We used to use software to fake images as well. So the definition is somewhat murky and different people will define it differently. But it's like the old adage, you know it when you see it. Deepfakes are not materially different from photoshopped images. The main difference is that the way that AI is currently used to fake images and videos and audio and many other types of media is iterative, and that makes it way better. So in Photoshop, one person would take an image, and let's say I wanted to make it appear as if you did something. So I take an image where that thing is done, and I move your head on top of another person's head. Now, chances are there are some characteristic errors that I would have done in this process. Maybe the light on your face is different than the light in the original picture. Maybe the shadows behind your head are different than the shadows in the original picture. Maybe the original picture was already compressed. I had to uncompress it, put your head in that, compress it again. You're going to get compression artifacts around your head because that's the part that I manipulated. All of these things are characteristic errors that help us notice photoshopped images. And if you remember the image of Princess Kate recently that was photoshopped, right? You saw a discontinuity in her sleeve. That's how people knew that it must be fake. Now, what AI does is it actually creates two models. This is referred to as a general adversarial model, one of which is the human editor, and the other of which is the critic that is trying to find errors. So the editor would edit the image, let's say by moving the head from one image to another, and then the critic would look at it and say, hey, here's compression artifacts. Hey, the shadows seem incorrect here. Hey, it seems like the light isn't correct on the face. And then the editor would edit these things, and then the critic would go again. And the more iterations of this you do, the more of these artifacts that we might be able to notice, you eliminate from the final image. And so the final image is still just an edited image. It's technically not different from something that you might have done in Photoshop, except a lot more work went into it. It went into a lot of these cycles, potentially. And so chances are you won't be able to tell the difference. And with video, it still seems iffy, and sometimes there are artifacts, but even that I think is going away in less than a year. With images, we're at the point where you just can't trust them because anything can do anything in an image. I can make any politician do anything I want in any image. You will never be able to know it's fake. The only real way to figure out whether an image is fake or not is by using metadata in some way. So if we could watermark every image that came out of my camera in a way that cannot be altered, when I alter the image, you could tell that the image has been altered because the watermark doesn't match the image anymore. That's the only way in which you could potentially solve it. There's talk in the industry about AI models watermarking images they touch. I tend to think that's the opposite direction of the one we should take, because there's an incentive for somebody to create an AI model that doesn't do that, right? So you're creating a cartel problem where the first one to break the cartel makes a lot of money. What we should do instead is go to the camera manufacturers and have them watermark all the images that leave the camera, because then anybody who modifies an image after it has left the camera will essentially be unable to again produce a matching watermark. That's probably the only way in which we can tell the difference going forward between deepfakes and real images. Or I guess the other way is, let's just stop believing images. We didn't have them 100 years ago. It worked fine. We used witnesses to prove stuff. Maybe we should just go back to that. In the general sense, you cannot tell whether something is true or not. If you tell me there's a lion in your kitchen right now, then to tell whether that's true or not, I would have to break into your house, go into the kitchen, take photos, and see that there's no lion in the photos. Now, nobody's actually going to do that, so in the general sense, I cannot verify your statement. What I can do is require some proof from you. You made a claim. It's a non-trivial claim. It typically doesn't happen. Most people don't have lions in their kitchens. So if you make a really non-standard claim like that, I can demand that you provide the photos or the witness accounts or some other information that helps me corroborate your claim. And so I think that's the general way in which we verify things in science. If somebody makes a claim about what happened in their lab, we don't break into their lab to verify their claim. we demand that they provide all the necessary evidence about how they conducted the experiment and how they documented the results of the experiment that occurred in their lab. The onus of proof is on the person making the claim. If they don't do that, it's not that the claim is false, it's just unverified, and we treat it as if it's false.